Going to the mall was always a fun activity, especially on weekends, meeting up with my friends there, browsing through stores, checking out the new arrivals, and spending time together laughing had become a sort of ritual for us. That day, like any other, we went to the mall with excitement, but this time, what started as an ordinary visit would turn into one of the most terrifying and unforgettable experiences of our lives. When we stepped through the large entrance of the mall, everything seemed normal. People were rushing around, store windows were glittering with colorful lights. My friends and I first stopped by a coffee shop where we sipped our hot drinks and made plans. We talked about which stores we would visit and what kind of things we might buy. Everything was as usual, or so we thought. We wandered through the stores, tried on clothes, joked about what we tried on, and took tons of pictures. We showed each other what we bought and shared our opinions, laughing and having a great time. The mall was like a giant labyrinth. We loved getting lost among the stores, corridors, and floors, playing pranks on each other. Time passed by without us even realizing it. At some point, we got tired and headed to a fast food restaurant in the center. While we ate, our conversation deepened, sharing memories from the past and talking about our future plans. But unbeknownst to us, time was passing, and the outside world was slowly getting darker. Yet we remained oblivious to the time and the fact that the mall was gradually emptying. One of my friends mentioned needing to use the restroom. We all got up together and headed towards the restrooms. But when we returned, we felt that everything had changed. The lights in the stores were shutting off one by one, and the corridors were enveloped in an eerie silence. At first we thought this was normal. After all, it was getting late, and the mall was probably about to close. But when we realized that no one else was around, a sense of unease settled in. At first, we didn't panic. We headed towards the exit, but when we arrived, we found the doors locked. This made us even more uneasy. There seemed to be no way out. Still, we tried to stay calm and decided to look for another exit. We started walking down the corridors, but no matter how far we went, we couldn't find the exit. Every turn, every corner, seemed to pull us deeper into the mall's depths. We tried to make the situation fun in some way. We thought having the whole mall to ourselves was an advantage. Everyone was cracking jokes to suppress their fear, trying to ignore the weirdness and silence of the place. But this comfort didn't last long. Suddenly, strange flickering lights began to reflect off the windows. At first we thought this was just a reflection of streetlights outside, but the lights were moving in a bizarre way. It was as if something or someone was inside, playing with the lights. A chill ran through us. Right after these light tricks, we heard the escalators moving on their own in a broken rhythm, first going down, then up, leaving behind only an empty hiss. No one could dismiss this as normal. Our jokes ceased. The smiles on our faces slowly froze. We were beginning to realize that this was no longer a game. After a while, we decided to explore the mall more thoroughly, splitting up and walking down different corridors. But soon enough, we all ended up at the same point again, because we all felt the same thing. We were being watched. As we passed by the toy stores, we noticed the toys on the shelves moving on their own. This time, no one laughed or said it was a prank. The eyes of the dolls suddenly turned towards us, raising their arms as if mocking us. We watched in silence, frozen in place. The chill inside us was growing. This mall was no longer just an abandoned place. There was something supernatural here. As we walked through the corridors, our footsteps echoed. Each echo sounded like footsteps following us. I turned around but saw nothing. However, for a moment I sensed something moving in the corner of my eye. It was as if something or someone had quickly passed through the dark corridors. We started hearing whispers, thin, unintelligible whispers coming from the depths of the stores, from the dark corners. These whispers grew louder with every step. As we tried to make sense of what was happening, we felt the fear completely envelop us. We now knew we had to get out of the mall, but finding an exit was not easy. Every time we approached a door, it was locked. At the end of every corridor, we encountered an obstacle. It was as if the mall was pulling us not towards the exit, but deeper inside. Strange rustlings came from behind the closed stores. Weird shadows rose from the walls, and each of us felt our breath shortening. We quickened our pace, but it was as if we were stuck in a swamp. We kept passing the places we should have run to, circling back to the same points over and over. As we passed by a toy store, our eyes were drawn to the moving dolls. This time the dolls' eyes were fixed directly on us. There was an expression in their eyes that we couldn't understand, both angry and mocking. The dolls suddenly burst into laughter. To an outsider, this might have seemed like just a joke or a game. But at that moment, we realized that this laughter wasn't with us, but against us. As we moved further into the darkness, we suddenly saw a beam of light. We started running towards it, but as the light moved away, we were met with an even darker and more terrifying environment. We briefly felt relieved, thinking the light was a security guard, but as we got closer, we realized it was an illusion. The light came from an old, flickering lamp hanging in midair. The shadow under the lamp was just a shape at first, but then the shadow started to move. It was as if something was trying to emerge from within the shadow. We were now in complete panic. We ran back, trying to remember the paths we had taken, desperately searching for a way out of the mall. Meanwhile, the whispers following us at every step mixed with the echoes of our footsteps. Finally, we reached the last exit door of the mall. When the door creaked open, the cold air from outside rushed in, and we took a deep breath. We dashed out, not even looking back as the door slammed shut behind us. We fixed our eyes on the newly risen sun in the sky, finally feeling safe. At that moment, we realized that the darkness of the night was over for us, but what we had experienced would never be erased from our memories. We never returned to that mall again, nor did we even pass by it. That mall, that dark and eerie structure, looked like it could pull us back in at any moment. As for us, we never told anyone about what happened that night. Even if we tried, we knew no one would believe us. But we were sure of one thing. Something was there in that mall, and it was still there, waiting for its next victims.